an appeal based on that use of it in their trial. But it's still iffy because they were tried in the United States and not in Canada. Sebastian, when I searched him, was no longer found in the Washington State prisoners list. So he's been moved elsewhere, and that location isn't being released. I kind of suspect that he is in a medical facility due to his decreased mental state over the years. Atif has spent his years in prison trying to make the best of a horrible situation. He's continued his education, and he's helping other inmates continue theirs. He was also married in 2017 to, I believe, his high school girlfriend. So one of the things was, like, he has shown great remorse. When he talks about it, he shows that he is remorseful of basically for his parents and his sister's death and how he chose to handle it afterwards. But he still maintains that he is innocent of the crime. So they still, up until Sebastian's third appeal, they're both maintaining innocence. So I will link all the places I found info from on the website. Just to quickly name some sources, there was the next Netflix series called The Confession Tapes. Some online articles from Vancouver Magazine, Seattle Weekly, and the Seattle Times. Also, I found a court document, the state of Washington versus Rafay and Burns. I didn't find any police reports. But last but not least is the Rafay Burns appeal website. And I believe this is updated and run by Atif's wife and maybe like volunteer legal counsel. Possibly also by Sebastian's parents or his sister. This is basically their story in their words, their timeline of what happened, as well as all the info on their appeals and their beliefs as to why they are innocent and this Mr. Big should not have been allowed.
No, it's total bullshit.
Right. So I kind of jotted a few things down. Like, I kind of made a list of a few things that I want to discuss. So, I mean, first of all, is there anything that really just sticks out to you? You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, none of the police reports. You said you couldn't find any police reports because they didn't do any of the work. It was all the Canadian people that did all the work.
I mean, I'm sure there's still some reports, but like, I can't find their statements, or there's a lot that I can't find.
Yeah. The other thing too is that there was like no physical evidence linking them to the crimes. It was a confession of one kid that was probably just making it up. I don't know. They have nothing physical to link them to the crimes. They did all the tests. They did all the, collections and nothing still.
Right.
They have nothing to link them to the crime. No murder weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, like, one of the things that stood out for sure, why are you doing a gunshot residue test when nobody was shot?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? I mean, I don't understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to rule it out. I don't know. That's weird to me when you said GSR and that they were all beaten to death.
And it was clear. Like, it was clear that type of carnage of Dr. Rafay does not come from a gunshot.
No.
It would have to be a shotgun.
No neighbors heard. They just heard banging. They didn't hear shots fired,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that, to me, right off the bat, I was kind of, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of confused. Do you take a mugshot and fingerprints when you're not being held on suspicion?
No.
I didn't believe that was the case either, but they did.
Yeah, but then they also put him up in a hotel. I mean, I get it, No, I don't know.
Well, they had to put him someplace. And like I said, it was really unclear. Sebastian's parents are contacted because his mom states that she contacted the consulate to say, hey, can I bring him home? I'm sorry, why are you not down there? That's where I guess I'm a little confused. As a parent, my child is staying at a house with his friend whose parents were just murdered. If he's a suspect or if he's not a suspect, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you would stop me from coming.
Yeah.
Because either way, he needs a lawyer or he needs my support. I'm not understanding how they ended up in a motel for 3 days and then put on a bus to go home.
Yeah, I don't know who bought the bus ticket.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know, did they have money to buy the ticket? It kind of seems the consulate would have maybe had to arrange for that.
Yeah.
Or the police. And
Somewhat,
since the police are saying that they weren't supposed to leave and they weren't informed that they were leaving.
That's kind of bullshit.
Then, well, yeah. That was the kind of the other thing that I was going to discuss was how do you not know that they're leaving? You haven't booked them. You haven't charged them.
You can't hold them.
You can't hold them without that. So how do you not know that they're leaving? If they're not supposed to leave, what, did they slip out the back window? Did you have police posted at the doors? Were you keeping tabs on them at all? If they're not supposed to leave, then you should have been keeping track of them.
Yeah.
They didn't just,
book them. You can't just hold people forever.
Right. So, I mean, there's that. And then you say somebody's acting off. You show up to a crime scene. You think they're acting off, but you don't offer any legal counseling or grief counseling and have somebody speak to them.
Yeah.
Again, is that procedure? I don't know. It doesn't sound right.
No.
If you have a suspicion that they're off, then you try to have somebody talk to them.
Yeah, especially in that your parents were just murdered. No one, they should have at least given them grief counseling.
Right. So yeah, when somebody is acting off, wouldn't you want to know why? Wouldn't you want to know what might be the cause of that? Mm-hmm. Because I think if they had gotten grief counseling in right away, they could have determined, well, he's in shock and he's not very responsive, or he's not acting the way you think he should because he's in shock.
Yeah.
Or this kid is definitely guilty and here's your line of questioning that you should be going for. Either way, you've got two avenues that you can pursue without just, oh, they were acting off. And maybe there's something I don't know. I'm not all knowing. There might be something that I wasn't able to find on the interwebs that could have led me to that answer. But everything that I know and that I've heard of and that I have looked at, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Also, I really question that Atif should have known. They're saying that he should have known the process of a Muslim burial. Mm-hmm. If they're saying that he should have known what it takes, why didn't they help him make arrangements?
Yeah.
Because in a Muslim burial, the oldest and closest male relative would have overseen all of that. Mm-hmm. So there's the washing of the body, placing the shroud, and then could be upwards of 3 days of prayer after the burial.
Yeah.
He would have overseen all of that as the closest living male relative.
Maybe he wasn't really into the Muslim religion. I don't know. I don't know how his parents, maybe he didn't participate. I don't know.
Well, I kind of thought about that, but given Dr. Rafay's history with the Canada-Pakistan Friendship Organization, I kind of pushed that thought to the side because that didn't make sense. If his dad was so involved in that, even if Atif did not practice Muslim religion anymore, he would have known about it. That's kind of where I go back and forth. If the police assumed that he knew about it, why didn't they help him make arrangements? Yeah. And if he did know about it, then why didn't he assert that he needed to make the arrangements? Somebody did. But it's very unclear who took that over.
Yeah.
So I could go either way with that one.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had a question was the car searched at any point? I can't find any information that it was. So you're going to tell me that these boys left the house, came back in about an hour, murdered the family, and then went to go see a movie, and there was nothing in the car?
Yeah.
Did you search the car? There's no mention of it.
Yeah, maybe they took it. Well, yeah, maybe they did take it because the boys didn't drive it to Canada.
No, they took the car. Yeah. The car is somewhere, but there's no mention of did they find any. Obviously, they didn't find any evidence in it.
No,
because if they had, that would have been part of the evidence listed.
No evidence from what?
Right. So the other thing was the timeline. If the neighbors heard that, then
Why didn't they call anybody?
It sounded like pounding, like somebody was building something. And it wasn't quite, it was like right before 10 o'clock. So it wasn't too terribly late. So I'm, you know how people are. They don't want to get involved.
Yeah. Well.
So I do feel like there is a possibility either way that, yes, they could have pulled that off and the stars aligned and the timeline just worked out.
Yeah.
Or no, there's absolutely no way, because you and I both know traffic here is the worst fucking thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to assume that they got in the car and were able to go directly to where they wanted to go with no traffic and no stops. That's how perfect the timeline would have to work for them to make that movie. It's not here.
No.
Not in this area.
No.
Yeah. Also, I mean, of course, the Mr. Big scheme. That is the stuff that, movies are made of.
Yeah.
I can picture Dirty Harry sitting on the other side of an interrogation table and, trying to cough this Mr. Big scheme on somebody like that. I can picture it. That's why I thought it was completely a made up thing. I didn't know it was a real thing because I'd never seen it outside of movies. It blows my mind, and it really blows my mind that it was allowed in the trial.
That's just crazy, though. It's Canada.
Yeah, but it was here.
Yeah, no,
you know
I mean,
what I mean? They allowed it, and it was
yeah,
here.
It's something they did regularly in Canada. It's just a weird thing, man.
I don't even know that it was that regular. They said it started in the 90s. As of 2008, there had been 350 cases where they did it, where they used it. Because you think about it, it's time involved. This took over, I don't know, about 4 months, I think. And some of these things can last over a year for them they get really that involved in it. So they can't do it too often. But in those 350 cases, 75% of the cases were either they got a conviction because of that, or they were cleared because of that. So, right.
It's like you said, it's entrapment. You're not,
right.
You make them do crime, launder money, do other crimes. The police are making someone commit a crime.
Right.
To talk about another crime.
Right.
That's so ass backwards.
It is. And it is also, you got to think of this kid's perspective. 19 years old. Some kids, very well-adjusted, mature children at 18, 19 years old. And yes, I say children. I don't care if you're an adult. You're still a child. You don't know shit at 19 years old. Yeah. You might make some very adult decisions. And I think that in this case, there was, an adult decision made to, oh, yeah, I'm going to goof around. This guy's offering me all this money and he just wants me to confess. What's the harm?
Yeah.
And again, whether he did it or not, I don't know. Half the time I think, they could have done that. They absolutely could have done that. No. And then the other half, I'm like, what proves that they did it other than how they acted? And that's not evidence.
No.
So I do feel like the burden to provide the evidence, it was completely failed. They did not provide the evidence needed to get a conviction. So whoever was on that jury, I don't know what you were thinking.
No.
So, very interesting case. Really confused the hell out of me. Did they do a good job? They caught the guys at all expenses, or did they fuck up and put 2 young boys in prison the rest of their lives?
Yeah, I think they did that. The latter. I'm sorry. There's no physical evidence. You didn't find the murder weapon. I mean, the United States is still the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
No evidence. No murder weapon.
Yeah. I mean, at least they should have gotten a new trial, I think. I think that should have been, I don't know. Yeah. But like I said, it caught my attention because the whole premise of the show, the confession tapes, is people who are wrongly convicted